Well, hello there, ladies and gents. I'm Tammy Sapnewski. Thank you so much for popping by my channel. And of course, today we're going to be covering the AMA that happened with Terrarium on Twitter and all of the drama. Dun dun dun. But we're going to get to the drama later. That was like 80% of the AMA, and Ozzy Austin actually made a little bit of a cameo, but we're going to get to all of that later. I do want to get to the important parts of what you need to know if you're a serious terrarium investor, all the little nuggets of information that are going to be important to you. But before we get into that, I just want to say it was conducted by a gentleman, Red Waif, on Twitter. He did a fantastic job. Like, he did such a great job. He did a wonderful job at keeping everybody to being civil, getting only one question and then moving on. And more importantly, like, he really kept reeling in Milton, right? Because, Milton is like me. The boy can go on a tangent and kind of wander off. He kept bringing him back to the main point, making sure everybody's questions were answered, and then he would move on. So he did a really wonderful job. Okay, so let's get to the main points of the AMA that you should know if you're a serious terrarium investor. Number one, they do have their registrations done in India, the United States, and in Dubai. And of course, they are going to be a centralized exchange. They're going to have tokens on their platform. There's going to be NFTs on their platform. They do have the Tera pool open already, which is where people can launch tokens. They can also get funding for different charities that they're doing. That's all done. So that was very exciting. We also found out that the centralized exchange is going to, it's looking like the second week of November. So that's a few months away. We did sustain a couple of more sells today on the chart. I think because of that news of, you know what, the centralized exchange is still a few months away, and people in this space, they don't have patience. They just don't. So I think that's why we sustained a few more sells in the space. Um, and when I was listening to Milton talk, I wanted to, get very particular with his wording. So he said specifically that the registrations are done with the United States, India, and Dubai. To me, this is not, hey, we got our license and we're good to go, because it sounds like the registrations are done, but I don't know if those licenses have been approved and are okay, because they said they're still working on a few different compliance issues with India and Dubai. He also mentioned Abu Dhabi and the UAE, which is the United Arab Emirates, which is, it encompasses several different countries. So I don't know if he meant just Abu Dhabi or if there's actually more countries that they're working with in the UAE. So it would be great to find that out. Anything that's going to be announced with Terrarium anymore, all the big announcements, it's not going to be coming from Milton's personal Twitter. It's going to be coming from the Terrarium Twitter, at Terrarium. Somebody requested that because they felt like, you know what, it's just a good idea. Instead of you tweeting something and then another doctor tweeting something and then RD tweeting something, why doesn't all of the messaging just come out of Terrarium, launch it and announce it there first, and then everybody else can retweet? This way everybody's on the same page, consistent, and the community is in the know. Because one of the issues, of course, is, cells coming out of the marketing wallet. And he was, Milton's like, listen, we're a community token. And somebody said, well, you keep saying that we're a community token. Do you think that you have done a great job with communicating with the community? And I think this is a way that you can improve. Definitely let us know what's going on with the marketing wallet. Like, we feel like you make these big sells and it hurts the chart, and we'd like to know what's going on with that. So Milton agreed that, okay, I will do that in the future. But here's my thing, okay? Does any other token ever have to answer for what is going on with their marketing wallet? No, they don't. Before we get to the drama, here's what I wish Terrarium would do, because you guys know I'm a longtime supporter of Terrarium. I'm a bag holder. I've never been paid by Terrarium. I'm just a supporter and a holder. Right now, their taxes are 2%. I mean, that's crazy nothing, right? 2% is absolutely nothing as far as tokenomics goes. It's freaking 1% burn. It's a total of 2% taxes, 1% goes to burn, and 1% goes to rewards, which is ridiculously low. I wish that they would change that tokenomic structure. One thing that I'd like to see is that the taxes need to be upped, especially for people that are selling. Okay, I can understand having a smaller taxes for people that want to buy in. People are selling, I think they can pay a higher tax. Now, sometimes smart contracts are written in a way that your buy and sell tax have to match exactly. I don't know if that's the case with Terrarium. I would like to see a higher tax. I mean, even if it's 6% both in and out. Let me explain why. I would like to see money and funding going, number one, to liquidity, number two, to utility, marketing, money for development, and of course the reflections and the burn. I would like to keep that going. I think all of those are important. I think money should constantly go to liquidity. Money constantly needs to go to the utility. Clearly, we also found out they have 57 people on their team. That's a big team to keep employed. And you're going to have overhead, you have to have money to fund all of that. I think that should be a part of the tax structure. Now, maybe they want to do that when that opens, drop the tax, buy and sell lower when their centralized exchange is functioning. But right now, I think 2% is too low. I think no matter what, you're going to need funding for your utility and money for marketing. Now, when I say marketing, I'm not talking about people on YouTube. I think it's great that they have hired YouTubers, but there's other ways that you can market your token without having to go to YouTubers. Inevitably, I hope that this exchange is so big that they're going to wind up hiring somebody like Crypto.com hired Matt Damon. It would be great if we could get to that kind of financial position where they could hire like a really hot celebrity. That would be great. But besides that, if they do continue to hire YouTubers, I think they need to look in different areas. So like we're all in one sect, right? Probably everybody that is subscribed to me is also subscribed to Awesome Austin. All of his people are subscribed to Rodney. Although I know Awesome Austin is significantly has a lot more people on his channel. I'm not comparing our two channels at all. He's the best, right? And all of them are subscribed to, everybody. It's kind of like incestuous. Everybody's subscribed to everybody else. I think if they want to go down the avenue of continuing to do the YouTube thing, they can buy ads on YouTube, they can buy ads on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and they should try a different sect of YouTube. Maybe try like Crypto Wendy, Max Mayher. Like people go to them a lot too. Try some of those people. Get a whole new group of people in. Lucy, try to get her. All of these different people. I think it would be great to see some different influencers in the space talk about Terrarium because it is in the end going to be a centralized exchange. Okay. So that's my 2 cents. I want some higher tax structure. Also, with the tax structure, if what we could do is change the fact that when these taxes are collected, instead of it being collected in the native token, if it could be collected in Ethereum. Now, that was a point that was brought up in their very first AMA on Twitter by a guy named Coke Zero. He's like, hey, when you get your marketing wallet funded, why aren't you funding it in Ethereum? And the response back then was, what, we're wealthy gentlemen. We're not going to have to use that marketing wallet. Don't worry, everything is going to be fine. And look what's happened now. They've hit that marketing wallet so many times. It's caused big, huge red candles in the charts. It's hurt the community. I really wish that they would rethink the restructuring of that. And if indeed that's the case, right now we're only on Etherscan, according to Ether, there's only 10,000 holders. Maybe what we need to do is a V2 before the centralized exchange is up and running, because I think that is essential. right? I think that is going to be an essential component to keep the token, which is inevitably going to be a coin, right? Because they are going to do their own blockchain. Just keep it running. Make sure you're not running low on funds, and we don't have problems like this, right? Okay, so let me just check my notes. Okay. Now somebody brought up to Milton, you know what, Milton? We really wish that any of the disagreements that you had with Awesome Austin really should have been had in private. It just didn't look good for you, and it wound up not looking good for the project. Like a lot of people sold after you had that Twitter exchange with Awesome Austin. Now, Milton, of course, wanted to defend his actions like everybody does. Everybody in their mind, people always think they're right. You know what? They can always talk their way into believing that they're right and this is why they did things. And so kind of one of the reasons that he gave was that, you know what? I didn't draw first blood type of thing. Awesome Austin kind of made the first shot when he released this public statement about how he tried to reach out and nobody answered him about getting that MetaMonkey AI sort of launched on Terra. So, number one, you know, he kind of alluded to the fact that maybe this was done to FUD Terrarium and poach people out of Terrarium into MetaMonkey AI. I just don't believe that to be the case. I really don't believe it to be the case at all that he was looking to poach holders. I really don't, because he holds both Terrarium. I mean, he said he holds Terrarium. And of course, he's been hired by MetaMonkey AI to promote that token as well. I don't think that's the case. Now, I didn't see the initial Twitter exchange. I do know that Awesome Austin's wife, Fan, told him to take something down, whether he called somebody a name or whether he did make the very first tweet that started this whole thing. You know, I don't know. But that's why Milton said he did what he did. But here's my thing. Now, okay, it was the wrong email address or whatever. This kind of goes back to MetaMonkey AI. If I'm running a cryptocurrency project and I want to launch it, and somebody that I'm working with, an influencer, says, hey, you know what? This other place you can launch your token over there. Are you going to let the influencer handle it? Because what did Austin do? Did he come back and say, like, oh, I guess they're ignoring me. Got to go to Pulo? Would, as a developer who's a business person, would you sit there and go, you know what? It doesn't make sense. Like, these people are serious business people. Why would they be chasing away business? This would be a great opportunity for us both. Why would they be? Wouldn't you then try to reach out yourself and just find out what happened? Does that make sense? And another thing that Milton said, he's like, just because somebody sent an email to this one thing, our website, doesn't mean that I got it. When you send an email to support at Binance, doesn't mean CZ gets your email, which is very true. Oh, and Milton is very tired of talking about the Binance thing. By the way, don't bring it up. It's a very sore subject. Happened forever ago. Just let it go. Okay. Don't ever bring that back up. So that's kind of what transpired with that. That was his reasoning. And the community was not happy with it because, of course, everybody loves Awesome Austin. He really did do a good job with shilling for Terrarium. He brought a lot of holders into Terrarium, and people like him, right? So people wish that he had handled it differently. And I think in hindsight now, he wishes he had handled it very, very differently, because the people that like Awesome Austin, they're very committed to him and they're very supportive of him, and they got his back, basically. So Awesome Austin did come on and he said, you know what? It happens. It was a wrong email address, whatever. But I just want you to understand that I'm not looking to steal people from Terrarium to get into MetaMonkey AI. Like, that was not why I did what I did at all. And basically, he wants to let it go. It didn't have to go there. And I think Awesome Austin really regrets it, because in the end, what happened? It was, Dr. P that gave the wrong email address. And I think that he feels bad because Poor Dr. P, that poor guy, everybody loves Dr. Praveen. I love Dr. Praveen. I trust Dr. Praveen. Probably one of the top reasons that I'm in the Terrarium project is because of that AMA they did on Twitter all of those months ago, their very first AMA, where he stepped up and was like, yeah, I got all these wallets and I'm not selling for 7 years. And I came from poverty and I know what it means to struggle. And I want to help people change their financial futures. And that really spoke to me. And I'm like, you know what? There's something about his voice. I have no reason to trust this guy. I don't know him on any personal level, but there is something about Dr. Praveen that I just feel like I trust him. And I feel like I'm connected to him and I doodle his name every night on a pad. I'm kidding, Mrs. Praveen. So anyway, he kind of threw Dr. Praveen under the bus a little bit. Like this all happened because Dr. P gave the wrong, which I think is BS, right? Like leave the poor guy alone. Everybody, people are making death threats against him. Like it is so sad. This man has done so much for not only Terrarium, but for the cryptocurrency space. Like he's releasing articles. He tries to keep people informed about, legislation that's going on. And I feel like he just kind of gets thrown under the bus a little too much. So Dr. Praveen did speak, and he wants everybody to understand that he believes crypto is definitely the future. It can definitely change lives, but he wants everybody to stay up to date and understand what's going on because there are going to be changes in the cryptocurrency space, laws that are being passed. And, in the end, it was all tied up very nicely. And I'm still very excited about Terrarium. I still hold Terrarium. I hold on a wallet and I hold on an exchange. Yes, it's true. Listen, we're down in the charts. There's no way that, it's just the truth. We're down in the charts. And it seems like a lot of these red candles do come from the selling of, for marketing or whatever they're using that for. I don't think that I wish we could change the tokenomics with that, but I am still a huge supporter and holder of Terrarium. I do believe in this cryptocurrency. I do believe that inevitably they are going to be a centralized exchange, and we're very lucky to get in at this early stage. This is a great time to DCA. If you bought into Terrarium at a significantly higher price, you should be buying more tokens here. We are dang near to launch price at this point. And don't forget the market itself, like this has taken a major beating. Everything is down in the market right now. Every single thing is way, way down. And Terrarium is no different. But it seems like a lot of the people that are holding long term. The people that are long term holders are enthusiastic, as am I. Well, I think this is long enough. I'm going to cut it here. Go Terrarium. Oh, and you know what? RD does a great job. I just want to say that guy does a great job because I would probably not tweet too much about Terrarium, but it's so easy to kind of just like his tweets and retweet them because he always is busy on Twitter keeping Terrarium in everybody's face and fresh in their minds and keeping the community updated and excited, which is very important. So I think everybody is doing a great job at Terrarium. Anything that Milton could do better. He knows he can do better. I mean, the guy's a pilot, right? You would expect him that when everybody else is freaking out, he's the one that should be, literally when turbulence comes, that he's the one that's cool, calm, and collected and makes better decisions. So from here on out, we can expect that. I think that we're going to get more professional communications directly through the Terrarium Twitter page, and we're going to be updated of any sales that are coming for marketing is what they said, but we'll have to see. And we'll have to see what gets said about those registrations. Does that mean a license? I would like, and he said he doesn't want to show the licenses or certain things because of security issues. And I can respect that because there are people that are not fans. So I do understand that. But that's going to do it here for me today. I thank you so much for joining me. And until next time, remember, try to only buy on those red candles and please take care of yourself. I blew it at the end.